Greetings. The saint that we want to consider for this week is Pope St. John Paul II. Now, Pope St. John Paul II is one who is very meaningful to many people, especially people my age, because I lived most of my life with Pope St. John Paul II as my Pope. Pope St. John Paul II also, by many people, has been given the nickname the Great because of all that he did in his life, especially all that he did as Pope. Now, Pope St. John Paul II was born and raised in Poland, and that meant that when he was a young man, that the Second World War had broken out, and Poland was a very significant area during the Second World War in terms of the suffering that people endured around the world. But in Poland, it was particularly great. And it was really illegal for people to be able to practice their faith to a great extent, and especially for somebody to go into the seminary in order to become a priest. But that's what St. John Paul II did. He had to do his studies in secret because the government didn't allow them to freely train men to become priests. But Pope St. John Paul II did become a priest, and he served in that area of Poland where he had been born and raised. He became Pope at a very young age. He was only 58 years old when he became Pope, and he was one of the longest serving popes in all of history. The longest was St. Peter, that Jesus chose to be the Pope. But the second longest was Pope Pius IX. He was Pope for about 31 years. Pope John Paul II was Pope for 26 years, so he was about 5 years short of being the second longest Pope in all of history. Pope John Paul II was known for his courage, the courage that he had in standing up against communism, the courage that he had all the way through his illness, and to show such courage in the way that he approached the final days of his life. He was also known for his teaching. He taught so much, so many documents that were written by him that we will be studying for many years to come, because there was so much involved with the teaching of Pope St. John Paul II, and particularly what we call his theology of the body, to understand how our very bodies are an expression of our relationship with God and God's relationship with us. So many different things. But the one story I would like to share with you about Pope St. John Paul II is the closest that I ever got to him. Because like I say, he was Pope for most of my life, and certainly most of the time that I've been a priest. But one time back in 1989, I was a newly ordained priest. I was a very young priest, and I went to Rome for a papal audience. And after he spoke, he came down to be with the people. First, he went to the sick and the handicapped. They had a special section because Pope John Paul II always had a special love, a special affection for those who were sick and those who were handicapped in any way. But then he came along the first row of the people in this building, and I happened to be on the first row. And Pope John Paul II came up to me and he blessed me on the forehead like that. That's the closest I got to him, and obviously the closest I've gotten to any saint. So Pope St. John Paul II has a very special place in my heart.